A civil rights activist and community leader. Tonight, people are remembering the life of Ron Scott. He passed away last night. 7 Action News reporter Tara Edwards takes a look back at Scott's life and talks to those who knew him well.
I'd just like to offer a moment of silence for Ron Scott, certainly an advocate, a leader in our community who fought for what was doing right for many years.
I want to start off by letting the family of Ron Scott know that our thoughts and our prayers are with him. He was an advocate in the greatest tradition.
A community devastated over the loss of a man who did so much for civil rights.
He was consistent about fighting those fights for people who were the least lost and the left out. And, you know, that's a thankless job.
He was the face of the Detroit Coalition Against Police Brutality. In January of this year, speaking out about a case involving a Grosse Pointe Park officer.
Very violent, a very, very vicious, and almost a wolf pack attack on an individual who the contention was in fact fleeing from the police. Well, even if he was, that's not the issue. The issue is whether or not excessive force was used.
Scott's work in civil rights goes back decades, back to the 1960s.
Part of what we've seen when we see the Detroit Police Commission, that was born out of his work. The federal consent decree was born out of his work.
Reverend Charles Williams II dedicating his whole afternoon show on the Word Network 910 AM radio to the legacy Scott left behind. He tells me Scott was also a TV and radio producer, hosting American Black Journal on Detroit Public Television.
Good to have you here. Nice.
Friends tell me he was a short man, but he stood very tall in terms of fighting justice and doing the work he was called to do.
This wasn't about cutting backroom deals for him. This wasn't about getting on a front page for him. This wasn't about making a whole lot of money. He wasn't a man of means, but I feel like he meant business when it came to the work of empowerment for our people.
In Detroit, Tara Edwards, 7 Action News.
Always a person for the people. He was just in our newsroom about a month or so ago. We got to see him, and he's just a fighter for the people, always.
Talking about police use of force, excessive use of force, long before the current debate, too. So, will be missed.